award-winning.
If the FBI conducts a thorough investigation of such cases that have remained unsolved for the most part, it might serve as a model for future prosecutions. Would you say that, Brett?
What do you mean?
Well, if they conduct a thorough investigation of such cases that people have been voicing their concerns about, it could serve as a model for future prosecutions. Prosecutors would be very, very careful about not committing excessive police force and things like that.
Sorry, I do agree with you that one aspect of what it is that we're doing here today is helpful. If we can provide information on our statutes, how the FBI operates, especially under civil rights and hate crime and police brutality, if we can educate the Sikh community and the public about how we operate, I do think that's very advantageous to both of us. However, we cannot simply investigate a case or encourage the prosecution of a case to set an example or to set as a model for future cases. Again, we can only operate under the law. But having said that, the more cases that are successful within the federal government and the FBI, and the more we can publicize that through our Office of Public Affairs and through the Civil Rights Unit, the more, I think, the likelihood increases that the public will come to us with their complaints and with their concerns and with their issues that we can then address.
Let's talk briefly about verbal assaults against the minorities. I mean, the case of a Sikh American in Rhode Island, whom the white male stated, and I quote here, "I have a gun in my car, and since you are a Haji, no one will care if I kill you. You know what, the police won't do anything because I got blonde hair and blue eyes." Is that not, this is now a clear case of a hate crime. These are, but sometimes the biases are not that clear, and the culprit is still at large because it is not classified quickly as a hate crime yet.
As you probably are aware, hate crimes are notoriously underreported to law enforcement. I think the 2007 hate crime statistics were just released last week, and the numbers for reported hate crimes stay about the same every single year, and there's about 7,700 instances of hate crimes that are reported each year. Having said that, I would highly encourage that family that you just spoke about in Rhode Island to contact their local law enforcement agency and also contact the FBI if they feel that they want to do that, and to pursue that. If the facts are as you alleged, I would believe that a hate crime may have been committed and should be pursued.
Well, then there is the case of a January case, 29 case of a Sikh American who was standing on the streets in New Jersey when a woman behind him grabbed his turban and attempted to snatch it, saying she had problems with that kind of stuff on your head. And she said she would like him to take it off, and the Hudson County prosecutor said, and I quote here, "Physically attempting to remove his turban is not intimidating enough to rise to the level of a bias crime." Is there a lack of cultural understanding? They do not understand that this turban is a religious symbol, and it is very, very important to this, but they are saying physically attempting to remove his turban is not intimidating enough to rise to the level of a hate crime?
I think from a education and awareness perspective, I think it's our responsibility to educate the public at large as well. There is a lot of just lack of understanding that goes on. So again, in order for us to have the dialogue that's needed, both with the Sikh community, African American community, Asian community, that's what we do. We get out into the community to explain even the issues and concerns that we hear from different communities. Sometimes the issues and concerns are very similar in nature, and sometimes they're very unique to the community. But most often, they're very similar. So we can take those issues and we can address those issues and we can learn from those experiences. And I think that's the most unique part about engagement like this. We can come up with different scenarios over and over and over again. And what I would like to do is to take this time to address issues such as Cynthia mentioned is, okay, when you have a problem with a local or state law enforcement organization, how do you engage them? What is the process? And like she mentioned, we all have rights, and the right thing to do, the protocol to follow, is to engage that organization and take it up the chain. Most of these organizations are going to have some type of Office of Professional Responsibility component that the community is entitled to make sure that they're treated fairly.
I think the problem is, Brett, that the police do not respond to such inquiries, and nobody responds to some unless the press voices it over and over again. When the press starts making inquiries, that's when the police gets a kind of alert. And what is the better way to respond to such cases promptly? To appease the community.
Again, I think the community needs to understand that they have rights. If they don't understand it, because a lot of times the communities feel that law enforcement are unapproachable. Again, I think that's why it was important for us to come here today to address some of these issues and concerns. And that's why our message has to be to the community: you do have rights. You do have an obligation to care about your community. You have an obligation, and you have the support from the FBI to follow up on any issues and concerns that you may have. And again, that's what we're encouraging the community